Hello students. Today we are going to start chapter 3, the countryside under the company's rule. This chapter is of history. The company becomes Diwan. We are talking about Diwani here. Diwani means the right to collect the revenue. So the Diwani of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha, it was granted to East India Company on 12th August 1765 by the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. Through this Diwani, it secured the right to collect revenue, means they can now collect revenue of Bihar, Bengal and Odisha. This was the Diwani system. They were controlling full Bengal and their control over Bengal was legalized. How? Through this Diwani system only. The revenues which they were getting, they were collecting from Bengal, it was the most prosperous of Indian provinces placed at its command. Bengal was the most prosperous of Indian provinces which were in the hands of the East India Company. Now, as the chief financial administrator of the land under the Britishers' control, under the East India Company control, they wanted to increase the revenue resources because they were collecting the revenue earlier, so their expenses were also increasing. So they want to increase the revenue resources also. So the company also learned that we have to move very slowly, okay, because if you want to control full India, the company decided that we have to move very carefully and slowly. There were a foreign power. They had to pacify because the Britishers, the East India Company, it was a foreign power. They have to pacify. Pacify means to make somebody calm and quiet. Okay, if someone is upset from you, someone is angry from you, you have to make them calm or quiet. So that is means to pacify. They have to pacify those who were ruling in the countryside that time because they were enjoying the power and all the respect, the prestige. Those who had held local powers were to be controlled, but their control was not entirely eliminated. Means the kings who were ruling there, those who were in local powers, they were controlling that countryside or that particular area. Their control was not entirely eliminated by the Britishers. This is a picture that Robert Clive, he is accepting the Diwani of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha from Mughal ruler in 1765. In this chapter, we are going to read about how the company came to rule the countryside, how they used to organize the revenue resources, and they produced the crops they wanted to produce. So, sources of revenue for the company. The company wanted to increase its revenue without setting up any fixed system of assessment and collection. They just want to increase the revenue. They don't want to set up a fixed system of the collection or assessment. They tried to exploit the Indian traders. They were buying the cotton and silk from the Indians as cheaply as possible. This way they were exploiting the Indian traders. They were buying the cotton and silk from us in very cheap rate, as much as cheap as possible from the Britishers. There was no need for the company to buy the Indian goods by importing gold and silver from Britain. Okay, so there was no need for the East India Company that they need to buy Indian goods. They were importing the gold and silver from Britain. The revenue which they were collecting from Bengal made them rich enough. Okay, they don't no need of silver and gold coins. They need not to be imported from Britain because already the East India Company was earning too much. How? Because they were collecting the revenue. This had a dreadful effect on the economy of Bengal because all the economy of Bengal was going in the hands of the Britishers. Their production declined because artisans, they were moving from villages because the company officials were telling them to sell their product at cheap prices. So artisans were forced by the Britishers to sell their product at cheap prices, to sell the cloth at cheap prices. So a disastrous famine occurred wherever the shortage of food was there, which occurred in Bengal in 1770, Bengal famine. It wiped out one third of the population. 10 million people were killed in that famine. Famine is a situation where there is a shortage of food over its demand. Now comes the permanent settlement. The economy was in ruins, and most of the company officials felt that investment in land need to be encouraged. So their economy was ruined already by the Britishers. So company officials, they want to invest in land. Okay, they decided that investment should be more in land. So it was at the stage that they want to fix the land revenue in perpetuity emerged. Here the word comes perpetuity. Perpetuity means that the state of lasting forever. A bond or other security which have no fixed maturity date period. That is perpetuity. So finally, after the prolonged discussion, the permanent settlement was introduced in Bengal and Bihar by Lord Cornwallis in 1793. He introduced the permanent settlement in Bengal and Bihar. The settlement had two features. Okay, first the zamindars, rajas, talukdars, and revenue collectors were converted into so many landlords. Means who were in the big positions like zamindars, the rajas, the talukdars, the revenue collectors, they were converted into the landlord. The zamindars were not only to act as an agent of the government in collecting the land revenue from the ryot, but they were also becoming the owners of the entire land in their zamindaris. So, first, these zamindars were not only to act as an agent of the government, they were collecting the land revenue from the ryot. Ryot means the Indian peasants or the farmer who is tenant, okay, who is working as a tenant there. So there were also to become the owners of the entire land, okay, in their zamindaris. They were collecting the land revenue also from the Indian farmers, that is ryot, and they were also becoming the owner of the entire land which were coming in their zamindaris. They have right of ownership. This was hereditary, means they can pass it on to their son. It was transferable. On the other hand, the cultivators were reduced to the status of mere tenant. They are only working as a tenant on somebody else's land. They were not giving any right to the soil. They were deprived of their right to the soil. The use of pasture, forest lands, irrigation, fisheries were some of their right which was sacrificed. So the cultivators, they were put down to the status of tenant. Tenant in Hindi means kirayedar. They were deprived of their rights to the soil. They were not giving any rights to the soil. The use of pasture, forest lands, irrigation, fisheries, there were some of their rights. Those all were sacrificed. This is the image of General Cornwallis. In fact, the tenant of Bengal and Bihar, they were left entirely at the mercy of zamindars. If zamindars means show some mercy towards them. This was done so that the zamindar might be able to pay in time the exorbitant land revenue demand of the company. See, the zamindar was working on behalf of the East India Company. So why the mercy was left on the zamindar, that zamindar can show some mercy towards the Indian farmers, because they might be able to pay in time the exorbitant land revenue. If the company demanded, we want high land revenue, exorbitant means high land revenue, so at that time the zamindar can pay. Second, the zamindars were to give 10th 11th of the rental they derive from the peasantry to the state by keeping 1/11th for themselves. Okay, 1/11th they can keep it with themselves, the zamindar. Rest they have to pay it to the East India Company as a rent. But the sum to be paid by them as a land revenue were fixed permanently. Okay, but the sum as a way of land revenue they have to pay, that was fixed. If the rental of zamindar estate increased owing to extension of cultivation, suppose a land is there of a zamindar. Okay, he extended his cultivation. So the rental value of that estate will also increase, like improvement in agriculture, or he's having capacity to extract more from his tenant, or he could keep the entire amount of the increase. So if the rental of a zamindar estate increase, why the rent income of zamindar estate increase? Because there is sometimes extension in the cultivation, improvement in agricultural techniques, or capacity to extract more from the tenant. Okay, they can extract more money from the tenant, so the zamindars can keep all the amount of the increase. The state would not make any further demand except that they need the land revenue from the zamindars and the rent from the zamindar. But any extra rent which they are receiving because of the extension in cultivation or improvement in agriculture, that can be kept by the zamindar only. At the same time, the zamindar had to pay his revenue on the due date. A day is fixed. On the due date, he has to pay his revenue. Even if the crop has not grown well, it has failed. Otherwise, his land will be sold off. If the zamindar is failed to pay the tax, the land revenue, okay, so their land will be sold off. Numerous zamindars were thus and sold off. The initial fixed revenue was made arbitrarily with the zamindars. So a fixed, I told you na, fixed amount of revenue was told to the zamindars. The rate of the revenue were fixed. They were very high. So during 1765 and 1793, the land revenue was nearly doubled. A person name is there, John Shore. He calculated that if the gross produce of Bengal is taken as 100, he assumed that let us take the crops which are being produced or grown, that is as 100, and the government has claimed 45 out of it. The zamindars received 50. Only 40 remained with the actual cultivator. Okay, because half of it is given to the company, the government, half, or means 15 is given to the zamindar, only 40 is left with the actual cultivator out of 100, if we assume it. One result of this high land revenue demand was that nearly half zamindari lands were put on sale because they were unable to pay the land revenue. So their land were sold from 1794 and 1807. Neither the zamindar nor the cultivators or the tenant, they had interest in improving the land. They were having no interest in improving the land. There was possibility of income from zamindar without the trouble of risk of investment in land. Okay, there was some possibility of income for the zamindars without any trouble or risk of the investment in land. So the cultivators found this arrangement was miserable because it was not giving them anything. Everything is being earned by the company and the zamindar. The rent which the cultivators are paying to the zamindar was very high, and they were not having enough money to sustain their families. His land was insecure because if they failed to pay the rent, they were evicted from the plot they have cultivated for generations. So if any cultivator who is already cultivating the land, they are failed, they cannot pay the rent, so that person is being evicted from the plot. Okay, now no need to do the cultivation on that land where he was doing cultivation from generations. So this was the cruel clutch of the Britishers, of the money lenders, from which they never got out. What were the benefits? See, till now what we have discussed, that are the disadvantages of the permanent settlements. So they are saying there were some benefits also of this permanent settlement. What were the benefits? The British officials, they realized that their rule would be unstable unless they acquired local supporters. They were right. If the local supporters are not in their hands, their rule will be unstable. So they would act as a buffer between them and the people of India. Do you know the meaning of the word buffer? The actual meaning of the buffer means a neutral state that is lying between two powers. One were the Britishers, other one the Indians. So the British official realized that their rule would be unstable unless they acquired the local support. They would act as a buffer, okay, as a neutral state. They are not on any side between them and the people of India. So they brought into existence a wealthy, privileged class of zamindars that owned its existence. So they brought the wealthy and privileged class zamindars, they were having existence to British rules, who would be compelled by its own basic interest to support it. Means these zamindars, it can be compelled by the Britishers, according to their interest, they will work, okay, to support them. Secondly, the permanent settlement guarantees stability of income. Yeah, they were giving the income to everyone. Collection of revenue through a small number of zamindars. It was simple and cheaper process. Dealing with lacks of cultivators. They were dealing with lack of cultivators. Above cultivators were the zamindars. They were collecting the land revenue, giving it to the company. Third, the permanent settlement was expected to increase agricultural production, because the production will increase, then only they will able to pay the rent or the land revenue. Since the land revenue will not be increased in future, the zamindars would be inspired to extend cultivation and improve agricultural productivity. So the permanent settlement, it was expected to increase the agricultural production. If the land revenue will not increase in future, the zamindar will be forced to increase or extend the cultivation, improve the agricultural methods which were being done in Britain by their landlords. Very important, Mahalwari system. In 1822, the Mahalwari settlement was introduced in the Ganga Valley, the northwestern province of Bengal Presidency. It is presently in UP, Uttar Pradesh. So this 1822, the Mahalwari settlement, it was introduced in Ganga Valley in the northwestern province of Bengal Presidency, which is present in Uttar Pradesh, the parts of central India and Punjab. The revenue settlement was made village by village or estate by estate. Whatever the amount of revenue is being given, it is decided by village or estate, means mahal by mahal, with the landlords or the heads of the family who collectively claimed to be the landlord of the village or the estate. Okay, so here they are saying the revenue means which is being settled, it was made by village or estate by estate, with the landlords or the head of the families who collectively claimed to be the landlord, who were saying that we are the landlords of the village or the estate. Through them, we are doing the revenue settlement. In Mahalwari area, the land revenue was periodically revised. Period-wise, it was revised. The word Mahalwari is derived from Urdu word mahal, meaning house, estate, village. The heads of mahal or the village, they were the headmen. They were used to collect the tax from the villages and hand it over to the British government. The Mahalwari system, it was devised by the Holt Mackenzie. It was the person who started this system. Now the Rayotwari system. The establishment of British rule in South India. Listen, this Mahalwari is in the northern part and this Rayotwari system in the southern India, southern western India. It brought new problems in the land settlement. How? The officials believed that there were no zamindar with large estate with whom settlement of land revenue could be made. In south, there were no zamindar who were having large estate. So how the land revenue settlement can be made? They introduced zamindari system. They want to introduce zamindari system. It would upset the existing state of affairs. If they introduce the zamindari system, it would upset the existing state of affairs. So many officials of the Madras, led by Reed and Munro, they recommended that the settlement should be made directly with the actual cultivator who is cultivating the land. Okay, they will give the land revenue. They also pointed out that under the permanent settlement, the company is the financial loser. If they do this permanent settlement method, so the company will lose something financially because they had to share the revenue with the zamindars. The zamindar revenue, they cannot claim it. Okay, they cannot claim the growing income of the zamindar from their land. So they said the permanent settlement system is not good for the East India Company because the zamindars are getting more share. Sometimes when they are increasing their land area or when they are increasing the agricultural methods, everything will be given to zamindar, nothing to the East India Company. The cultivator was left at mercy of the zamindar who could oppress him at will. So cultivators, they were left at the mercy of the zamindar. If the zamindar will show some mercy, okay, the zamindars can oppress him at the will. Under this settlement, the cultivators was the owner of his plot land where they were cultivating. Whatever they are cultivating, they have to pay the land revenue. The supporters claim that it was continuation of state of affairs. The state of affairs, they don't want to upset the state of affairs. They want to same settlement system. Means the person who is cultivating the land, he is the real owner of the land. Okay, he has to pay the land revenue. The supporters said that it was the continuation, means that state of affair is continued, that has existed in the past. Munro said it is a system which had also means already prevailed in India. That system is already followed in India. That the same system we are following. It was in the end introduced in parts of Madras and Bombay Presidency. In the end, it was introduced in Madras and Bombay Presidency. This system was extended to the whole South India. This settlement was Ryotwari system. It was not made permanent to all. It used to revise periodically after 20 to 30 years when the revenue demand was increased by the Britishers. When the Britishers want more revenue, so it was revised periodically after 20 to 30 years. The Ryotwari did not bring into existence a system of peasants' ownership. Okay, they don't bring the existence of the peasants' ownership. The peasants soon realized that a large number of zamindars had been replaced by one big zamindar. Means the large number of zamindars, they had been replaced by one big zamindar. The one big zamindar, the state, and that they were Murray government tenants. Soon the peasants who were cultivating the land, they understood that everything is being controlled by the government, by the Britishers. They are just the tenants of them, whose land is sold off if they will not pay the land revenue. Same system is being applied to the peasants here. The peasants who are cultivating the land, they are owner of the land. If they are failed to pay the land revenue, their land will be sold off. So they soon realized, if they fail to pay the land revenue, their land will be sold off. So everything's were in the hands of the government. They are just working as a tenant there. It was Thomas Munro, he was governor of Madras. What were the effects of this system? Okay. All the above mentioned land revenue system, it led to improvement of rural population. Everybody exploited, the peasants were exploited by the East India Company and the zamindars. There were agrarian rights, agriculture rights were taking place. The position of landlord was reduced to mere rent collector. The zamindar, the landlords, they were only busy in collecting the lands, means collecting the rent. They were only becoming the rent collectors. Nothing was done to improve agriculture. Sometimes the crops were failed due to lack of rainfall and famine occur. Shortage of food when there is no crops, shortage of crops or bad harvest is there. The worst famine was the Bengal famine of 1943. Lakhs of people died due to shortage of food. They were having no money to buy the food. The zamindari and the Ryotwari system created a new kind of private property system. Earlier people pay tax in kind. Now whenever the peasants or the zamindars were unable to pay the tax or the revenue, they used to auction their land, or else the peasant have to sold the part of his land. This only we have done. If the peasants are unable to pay the tax, their land is to be sold or auctioned. In this way, the land becomes saleable and transferable. Now you can sell the land, the Britishers can sell the land and transfer the land if you are not paying the tax on time. The revenue system encouraged the competition and the individualism. Now every peasant want that more and more money can be created than land or tax to be paid, land revenue to be paid. Okay, now the competition increased. People started producing for the market. Okay, they want to sell everything into the market. They don't want to fulfill the needs of the village population. They just want to sold everything in the market. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.